What's up, YouTube? Pictures by Schoolboy back again with another video. In my previous video, I promised you guys I was going to drop a video on how I color graded this image. That video was how I do my frequency separation with the Gaussian blur. I'll put a tag up right there so you can check that video out in case you didn't see that video. So in today's video, as I promised you guys, I'm going to take you through how I try to manage to get some amazing style of color grading in pictures like this. I shot this picture myself somewhere last year, so that's what we are going to do today. So before we get straight into the video, you already know the drill. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and also don't forget to turn on the post notification to get notified anytime I put up a new video. Thank you guys. Okay, so let's go on. So the first thing I'm always going to do whenever I'm about to color grade, whenever I'm about to edit, whenever I'm about to do any sort of post-production style of any post-production thing to a picture, is to always zoom in a little bit. If you are older on this channel, you already know that that's what we always do. You always zoom in a little bit and kind of take a look at the skin. You always don't want to mess around with the skin, so you look at the shadows and the highlights, the place the highlights are, and you see overall how well the skin is looking, so you have the idea of how much you are going to do to the image. So since that is done right now, the first thing I'm going to do is to select the adjustment layer right here, and select let's say the how do you call it, the color balance. Yeah, so this is it, the color balance. Anytime I'm using the color balance, I always overdo it a little bit. I do a little too much so that it kind of looks like a filter, so that I can always come down to the opacity right here and bring it down to make it looks a little bit realistic or a little bit nice. So let's start up with the shadows here. So I think I'm gonna give it a little bit of an old vibe, since the background, it looks like it was shot in some kind of wacky environment. So I'm just going to give it some little bit of an old vibe. I think the greens looks nice, but the reds also looks nice though. So I think I'm going to go with the reds. So let's say plus 15. And the magentas and the greens, let's see what we are going to do here too. Remember, I always overdo it so that I can bring down the opacity to make it looks a little bit believable. I think the magentas are going to make the reds a little too much, so I'm going to do plus 5 right here. And I always add blues to my shadows, but I don't think that's going to work very well with this image, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellows to make it looks give it a kind of look that I want. So I think we are getting there. Then I'll come to my highlights. So let's see what we can do right here too. So let's play with it a little bit. I think I'm going to do, let's see, plus 5 right here, and I'm going to add a little bit of magentas right here, so minus 20. And let's see the blues if it works this time around. Yeah, let's see. I want to give it that kind of an old vibe. Remember when you used to watch those old war movies? That kind of vibe that you get when you watch those old movies. That kind of how do you call it, hot style of color grading. Like, I don't know if you watched this movie called Mad Mask before. was shot. I think it was shot on a desert or so. So the color grading was always hot to make it, look like it was really hot when they were filming it. So that's the kind of vibe I want to go with this picture. So I think plus 10 is fine. So let's go to the midtones. I always do too much, as I said earlier. I hope you are learning something from this channel. If you think you are, or if you are really learning something from this channel, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. So let's play with this one too a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, so I think that's it. So here is the before, here is the after. As you can see, it's a little too much. It's too much. So what I'm going to do right now is to hit the opacity and bring it down, to, let's say, 60. Let me see. Yeah, so now it looks fine in my opinion. Here is the before and here is the after. It looks fine in my opinion. So the next thing I'm going to do is to use the selective color. So whenever I open the selective color adjustment layer, I always come down to the white. That's the first thing I always do, because as you can see, there are some highlights right here on the nose and on her shoulder and on her hand. I always want those highlighted places to have that kind of cold style of highlights. So I always bring up my cyans like this, and I always bring down the yellows like this to make it looks cold. Let me show you the before and after so you can see what I'm really talking about. So here is the before. As you can see, look at this place, and here is the after. So since we are done getting that of the way, let's try and play with the other colors individually and see how well that one can also contribute to the image's look. So if I bring the cyans up like this, it's going to make it dark. So let's leave it at 0. Let's play with the black and the highlights and the shadows a little bit. So I want to add more depth to the image, so I think I'm going to bring up the blacks a little bit so that I don't add that more of a curves or something like that. So let's see what the yellows are also going to do. Yeah, I think the yellows also makes it nice. I want the picture to have that warm kind of look as I explained earlier. So that's much it for the reds. Let's move on to the greens. I think there are some little greens back here. So let's see what the cyans does. It does nothing. Magentas also does nothing. And I think the yellows in the greens, we can bring that up a little bit. But I don't see any difference back there. The only thing I can do, no, I don't think Photoshop recognizes these small colors at the back here as greens. Sometimes greens turns out to be yellow. So let's do the yellow and see. I think, yeah, as you can see, it recognizes those colors as yellows. And if you do this, you see we are trying to, we start to mess up the skin a little bit. So I'm going to put it down to 0 right here, just like this. And I'm first going to play with the blacks and white to see here. So let's keep on adding more depth to the image. So I think +3 is fine. And let's see what the cyans also does. Oh, okay. Let's leave that to 0. Okay, so here is the progress so far. Here is the before and here is the after. As you can see, we are getting the before, after. Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is to open the hue and saturation adjustment layer. And here too, I'm going to play with individual colors as usual. So I'm going to go with the red since it has a lot of reds in this picture. Oh no, this thing is something you don't want to mess with, this hue thing, man. So let's see. I don't want to make the skin so reddish. I think the skin is a little too red. So what I'm going to do is to bring down the opacity of the reds to, let's say, -8 to kind of make the skin looks a little bit even and natural. I don't want it to be too red. Canon cameras always turns out to bring out the reds in the skin, so I'm not trying to add up to that. Let's see the science. I don't think there are science in this picture. No, I don't think so. So that's much it. Let's see what we can do next. The next thing I'm going to do is to open the curves adjustment layer and add a little bit of highlight. So I'll select here and I'll bring it up just like so. Yeah, so here's the before and here's the after. As you can see, we've brightened it up a little bit. I would want to perform dodge and burn to kind of add more depth into this picture, but I'm going to save that for a separate video. I don't want to make this video too long for you guys, so I think this is what we are going to move with today. So here is the before and here is the after. As you can see, it looks amazing. This all comes down to personal preference. I know if you are watching this video right now, you would want to edit this picture in a different way or in a different style, and that is fine, and I understand that. It all comes down to personal preference. This is how I prefer the image to look. I just want the image to look a little bit warm due to the environment the picture was shot. So I think it looks amazing. Let me try and see if I can add how do you call it? I've forgotten how this thing is called. Oh shoot. I wish I could remember. I don't even know how to explain it, but let's move on. I don't want to make this so long. So I think let's put all in a group. Yeah, so here is the before, here is the after. Before, after. I think it looks amazing. It's more dramatic than before. Here it looks more flat and more natural, but here it looks more dramatic and it's so punchy with the reds. It looks like it was shot in a very sunny day or a very sunny environment, and that's the look that I wanted to give this picture. So I think that will be yeah, I think that's it for the color grading. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can add a little bit of light to the image. So let's see, let's make another curves and try and bring it up and see. No, I don't think it would be nicer that way, but I'm going to add a little bit. I think here is okay. Here is the before and here is the after. I think it's okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is to sharpen this image. Now I do that by hitting Shift Control Alt plus E to create a stamp visible layer of all what I have beneath here, so that I can sharpen the top one. I have a video on that. I'll put that in a tab right above here. You can also check that out after watching this video if you want to know how I sharpen my images. So I'm just going to go straight to it. I'm just going to hit filter, convert for smart objects, and wait for it to convert to a smart object. Hit filter again, order and high pass. Yeah, and that's it. I just sharpened the image, so I think 3.5 is okay. Then I change the blend mode to overlay. So as you can see, it has more detail right now because it's sharpened. So let's quickly see the before and after right again. Here is the before, here is the after. Before, after. Yeah, so that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something new from this channel. If you did, please subscribe to my channel for amazing content like this, and don't forget to drop a like on this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.